I'd like to read a little bit from a book that I mentioned a few months back called The Elves of Lily Hill Farm. The Elves of Lily Hill Farm, A Partnership with Nature by Penny Kelly. Maydell Goulart told me about this book, and my wife and I have both read it, and I think Boyd has read it. And in chapter 22, there's a very interesting section which relates to us who are involved in attempting to outpicture in our homes, in our gardens, in our environs, aspects of permaculture which will allow us to have our own organic food, live, fresh food, etc. So Penny has been working with the Elves for quite some time, and she decided to go into meditation, and I'll read this section. When I finished the tea, I rinsed out my cup and put it in the sink. Not knowing what else to do with myself, I put on some of my favorite meditation music, seated myself in a large, comfortable chair, and dropped into a meditative state. Shortly, a series of amazingly clear pictures began to come to me. They were pictures of the farm and what was going on here. It began when I saw myself just working with the grapes, trying to communicate love and energy to them. The interest in plants and growing things continued to expand. People began to come here for all sorts of reasons, mostly to learn how to heal themselves in physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual ways. The house had become a sort of inn, and we were living in an apartment above the completely finished barn, which had grown considerably in size and layout. Some of those who came here rented a room in the house, getting clean, comfortable beds and baths, a regimen of vitamins, herbs, fruits, grains, and vegetables. There was massage therapy, music therapy, water therapy, lessons in how to cook to heal themselves, a personal growth and development plan, a personalized healing plan, the challenge to grow and learn, and a totally new experience of healing enhanced by being in a place of beauty filled with love, nature, peace, and good company. Those who came for healing were encouraged to take an interest in and help heal others rather than be isolated in their illness. The setting here provided multiple levels of support for healing and for personal development, along with clear, congruent information. This, combined with the obvious demonstration of balanced, healthy lifestyles, had a massive effect on an individual's perception of how to live or what was important in life. There were also people who lived and worked here besides Jim and me. They worked in the gardens, and they helped take care of other people. Each had a special gift, an interest in health, and a desire for balanced living. We provided some of these people who worked here with a home or room to stay in, good food, and an opportunity to make a balanced living by developing their own small specialty businesses, which were either related or complementary to ours. Sometimes these people who lived and worked here would take a special interest case directly into their own home to earn extra money, study a particular pattern of illness, or develop a special therapy or form of nurture and support. There was a house to the east, 2 houses to the west, 2 houses near the back pond, a house on Golden Mountain, and a house located about halfway to the back of the farm along Old 32nd Street. There were many, many trees and plants cultivated here on the farm. There were patches of grains and all sorts in small quantities. We had some kind of cutting machine that looked like a rototiller with a blade that stuck out in front or to the side. Jim, who loved inventing, had developed or bought and then altered this cutting machine to harvest small amounts of grain, an acre or 2, grown organically, then harvested and shared with everyone here. Some of the grain was stored in a large root cellar or basement here. Then it was ground fresh just before being made into many kinds of breads that were eaten here or sold and shipped elsewhere. We had a large old-fashioned summer kitchen that was used by nearly everyone here for eating, for cooking, for relaxing, for congregating, for teaching, for handling the large amounts of fruits, vegetables, grains, and herbs grown here. The vegetable gardens were amazing, and delicious places to browse for goodies to eat. Some of the vegetables I didn't even recognize. There was a room in the corner of the north barn that was nearly soundproof. In it, a person could sit or lie down and be surrounded by therapeutic music while relaxing or meditating. Specific frequencies could be introduced as standing waves, and it was quite a powerful healing room. There was another room that contained a large tank of water that people floated in and experienced a deep healing form of meditation. The grounds and the fields were also bathed in healing music in the early morning and again at dusk. Over 300 different herbs and leaves and roots and berries were grown here, dried here, and stored here. There was an incredibly beautiful area of trees in a circle to the west of the house. There was another grove of trees toward the back near the pond. A fire pit and meeting circle was in the middle of a third grove of trees nestled between the big hills just west of the lane. The lane that went to the back of the farm had branched into several lanes, and all were lined with fruit trees and hedges. There were small orchards in several places, and a variety of delicious fruits were available. There were a number of paths here and there that led to small, beautiful, even romantic areas among the trees, flowers, or by one of the ponds. These places created serenity and peace in the soul of the visitor who happened to visit them. There was a greenhouse used to grow special plants from other weather zones that would not ordinarily survive this far north. In the greenhouse was a Curlian gadget that Jim had put together for diagnosing plant illness and disease. There were sheep, goats, and chickens here. They lived in a small barn built for them near the cherry tree. They provided manure for renewing the soil, a few eggs for eating or baking, and some goat's milk for drinking and making yogurt. I had even learned to milk a goat and shear the sheep. They were more like pets and were not slaughtered. However, some were sold. There was very little grass or lawn area at Lily Hill. Most of the land had been returned to habitat status or was used for gardens, herbs, or grains. The west entrance of the barn was now a private entrance with a sloping sidewalk, a large screen porch, and some beautiful flowers and plants. The main entrance and parking had been moved to the northeast side of the barn. There were some short trees, about 15 feet high, in the area that was currently used for parking. They provided shade in the summer and deep pink blossoms in the spring. The parking area looked more like a park with flowers and bushes and benches. Almost the entire front yard of the barn was a beautiful herb and wildflower garden. Across the driveway, the land sloped down to a pond named Willow Pond, beside which several beautiful willow trees grew. We collected plants and seeds from everywhere we went. In fact, seeds, transplants, and cuttings were part of what we offered here. The fact that they were grown organically was quite an asset because they were extremely healthy and tolerant of all kinds of conditions. There was quite a shipping and mailing operation here. People sent for seeds, herbs, books, bread, and other handmade homemade items. They also ordered jams, jellies, sauces, mustards, juices, and other items made with our organically grown fruits and vegetables. People came here in person to buy food, fruits, vegetables, herbs, eggs, yogurts, and grains. All organically grown, super nutritious, and unparalleled in taste and keeping quality. There was an herb growing and drying operation that was a large and continuous part of what we were doing. Some were sold to restaurants, some were dried and shipped elsewhere. Most of the appeal was the fact that they were organic, which gave them exquisite flavor. We were teaching people to grow their own food and how to get from the soil to the stomach. This involved everything from composting to harvesting techniques, some preservation, and especially cooking from scratch rather than eating fake food out of boxes. We emphasized that growing your own food and cooking from scratch was a necessity, a right, a pleasure. Many of the things we did here involved cooking, gardening, and healing were either audiotaped or videotaped, then edited and sold elsewhere to people who were interested in healthy organic food and gardening. Some of the techniques and music used in the music therapy room were also recorded and sold. In fact, there was quite a recording studio operation here. The healing that went on here was based on a very simple philosophy. Clean out the body and it would heal. Feed it healthy, nutritious food and it would maintain good health. helped someone find a reason to live, and health became an important life goal. Clear emotional pain and mental garbage, and the human being began to evolve toward his or her private, unlimited potential. We were teaching how to project loving energy to people, plants, and animals. Most of all, we were teaching love. We were teaching peace. We were demonstrating how people could live together in an extended family lifestyle that supported the earth, the individual, the family, and the community. There was a lot more that I saw besides just this. Some of it was personal, some was too unusual to mention. I was not sure how it all became part of our everyday reality, or even how it began, but it was clear that the growing and making of some very special food was a major part of what we were doing. When the meditation ended, I sat for a long time sifting through the things I had seen and experiencing a state that could be described as a kind of "where did all that come from?" wonderment. By New Year's Day, my resolution had been made. I spent the whole day cleaning my office and file room. So, this was what I desired to share because I think that many of us have held the same vision, the same type of vision for our Wellspring Healing Retreat, which did not manifest and yet which can still happen in another area as we decide to make it so. And this type of community and beautiful property can manifest other places, many places throughout the United States and the world, as conscious individuals come together, focus their energies, as she said, love and peace, and make it manifest by God's grace. So let us hold this vision that Penny Kelly had, as well as our own vision in our mind's eye, in our hearts, for precipitation, for coming into physical reality, according to God's timetable, God's holy will, wisdom, and love, as we move forward on our spiritual journey together.